Welcome to Greek for a Week. We are looking at the last couple of verses for the paragraph that we've been discussing for a few weeks now. So we're looking at verses 9 and 10 of chapter 2 of the book of First Peter. Again, I've labeled this particular paragraph Living Stone and Living Stones. Again, that's the paragraph 4 through 10. So next week we will diagram this paragraph and take a look at how it might be put together and see how the biblical author may be structuring his particular emphasis and points as we look at several verses there. So here's verses 9 and 10. So let me walk through that and see how things put together. He says here, but you yourselves, you're a chosen race, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, a people for God's possession, so that you may proclaim the excellencies of the one who called you out of darkness into his marvelous light, who once were not a people, but now you're a people of God, who once had not received mercy, but now you have received mercy. If you notice there in the translation, the humes is in the nominative case, and it is moved what I would suggest in subject position for emphasis, so that's the reason why I translated it you yourselves. And then the de here, the de is probably, it's a contrasting marker as well, but I think it also moves the argument forward because it contrasts the immediate reference, you could say, to the unbelievers in verse 8, and then now he's discussing believers. So the de moves the argument forward, provides a contrast, as well as it serves as a discourse function to change characters or to change the referent. Then you have the genas ek lekton. Okay, genas ek lekton. Predicate nominative of the implied verb is. This would be your subject here. Humes would be your subject. This would be your, that would be your predicate nominative. And then the next three nominatives are in apposition to the word or the phrase that are preceding. So you have here. So this would be your nominative here. This would be your nominative here. This would be your nominative here. And then, of course, you have those three nominatives also have an apposition, nominative apposition to the word that precedes them. So the genos goes to humes, right? And we continue to move that forward. Ace here, preposition, would be for purpose. So a people for God's possession. So the purpose there of being that kind of a people is specifically for his possession. Hapos here, that's also introduces a purpose clause. You're a people for God's possession so that you can proclaim. So here is your subjunctive because of the hapos. That's a second person plural, aorist active subjunctive. And then, of course, you have a to here. You have an article, but you also have a participle. So the to in the kalesantas is a substantival participle. an aorist active participle, masculine genitive singular of kaleo. So it says, I translated that they're the excellencies of the one who called you out of darkness. So the one who called. And then we have here, we have hoi. So if you look at the beginning of verse 10, you'll notice there that there is a double accent mark, and that double accent mark is, there's kind of some controversy, if you will, on that double accent mark. What exactly is that referencing, and how do we handle it? So I'm going to look at Forbes. Greg Forbes, in his exegetical guide to the Greek New Testament, he makes the comment here on verse 10 in relationship to, let me get there for just a second here, my apologies. He makes the comment here that it could serve as a relative pronoun that picks up humes from verse 9. So that's how I've translated that. But other people see it as an article that has required its accent from the enclitic pate, which would be here. So I've taken this because there's good grammarians on both sides of the argument, but I've taken the relative pronoun to point back to the humes. Theou here is a genitive of possession, which tells you that you are specifically a people of God. And one more, let me bring one more here. You have a hoi, and then you have a participle there. That is a perfect passive participle, masculine nominative plural of eleo. It's substantival. So what's interesting is that is a perfect tense form. So he's saying here that at one point the state in which you lived was one that did not receive mercy, but now you've received mercy. Probably going all the way back to chapter 1, where Peter discusses God as a merciful God there in the first couple of verses of chapter 1. Trust this has been helpful. We will diagram this entire paragraph next week. Have a great week.